You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 18th day of August, 2023. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. This will be an abbreviated broadcast today. Michael has some things to take care of, and so he won't be coming on for the recap as he normally does, and we won't be going out on the live stream on the TradingView platform. We will resume normal business come Monday. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first one is our live training room from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. In order to get into that broadcast, you have to be a member or you have to be on your 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com, and at the top of the page, it says 5-day free trial. Click the link, complete the registration form, and then we'll take care of getting your desktop set up, your indicators indicating, and you'll be ready to hit the ground running Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern when the Globex markets open for the week. Once the live broadcast ends in the morning, the live training room, then we come back for the afternoon broadcast at 12 noon Eastern, which is open to the public. Everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. To join the afternoon broadcast, there are 2 different ways. The best way is you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to afternoon broadcast, click the link, complete the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen every trading day going forward, you'll get an email about an hour after this broadcast starts, before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Now, the benefit of doing it that way is you have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. On the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live, just go to our YouTube channel. And on the days that you're busy and you can't join live, when you're ready to enjoy the broadcast, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the youtube.com part, so really all you got to remember is youtube.com, you got that, /CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,300 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And for those who are new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today or this week, but over time. Thanks to YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years, even more. Just pick some days at random. Listen in a little bit. You'll quickly see the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast. youtube.com/CFRN. CFRN. So let's open with our daily devotional and a word of prayer. We're talking about good Lord or good God. Our scripture today is 1 Samuel 17:37, one you're probably familiar with. I'll share it with you from the Message translation. David said, "I've been a shepherd, tending sheep from my father. Whenever a lion or bear came and took a lamb from the flock, I'd go after it, knock it down, and rescue the lamb. If it turned on me, I'd grab it by the throat, wring its neck, and kill it. Lion or bear, it made no difference. I killed it. And I'll do the same to this Philistine pig who is taunting the troops of God. God, who delivered me from the teeth of the lion and the claws of the bear, will deliver me from this Philistine." Saul said, "Go, God help you." Young David's show of bravery in facing a terrifying giant is one of the most notable and retold stories of the Bible. It is one of the first Bible stories children learn as a lesson about faith and courage against all odds. As we get older, we may begin to read it metaphorically in terms of the giants in our lives and finding the courage to stand up to them. And those lessons are certainly helpful and compelling aspects of faith. But we should be careful not to miss the truth of today's verse. God's goodness in the past proves his continued goodness in the present and the future. David didn't approach King Saul thinking he had something to prove. He wasn't hoping to one-up his brothers or anyone else. He wasn't trying to work his way up any social or professional ladder. He simply saw a need and believed in God's goodness to meet that need. The fact is, Goliath and his army stood against God's purpose and will for his people. There was simply no question in David's mind and heart about joining God in that purpose and will. God had already proven his goodness to David, rescuing him from giant animals who meant to overcome him and had strength like Goliath to do so. God had shown his goodness, and David had marked those events in his heart as an Ebenezer. If you don't know what an Ebenezer is, listen to yesterday's episode. That memory led him to believe God's goodness wouldn't end in the present moment. It's easy to forget God's goodness for fear of our present or future circumstances. But when we look back, remembering those markers where God has proven his goodness, it's hard not to be thankful and assured of his goodness in the present. When we look back, we see God has always been there. He's always met our needs, and he won't stop now. So what do you need to rely on God for right now? Based on David's example, how can you do that? God is always good, and at the same time, there are faithful believers in the Bible whose lives ended in ways we wouldn't expect. Check out Acts 7:54 through 60. How do both outcomes, 1 Samuel 17 and Acts 7 show God's goodness and the fact that He never lets us down. Ask God to remind you of His goodness in the past and to give you the courage to trust Him completely in the present, no matter whatever circumstances you face, whatever giants are looming in front of you, whether they're in your relationships, in your finances, in your health, or whatever uncertainty looms. Just know that God is good. God is for you. He is not against you. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, as we come before you today, we remember the words of young David in 1 Samuel. Just as he declared, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." We as a community also recognize your unwavering faithfulness in our lives. You are the God who goes before us in every battle we face. Just as you empowered David to face Goliath with unwavering trust, grant us the same unwavering faith to stand against the giants that loom before us. Strengthen us with the knowledge that our strength comes from you alone. Lord, help us to trust in your promises and believe in your power to overcome any obstacle. Just as you guided David's aim and brought down the giant, guide our steps and actions as we confront the challenges in our lives. Teach us, God, to rely on your wisdom, not our own understanding. Give us the courage to step out in faith, knowing that you are with us every step of the way. May your name be glorified through our victories, knowing that it is by your strength that we overcome. We place our trust in you, our God, just as David did. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Well, happy Friday. Everybody's been working for the weekend, and here it is. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow's up 39 points. NASDAQ is down 42. S&P 500 is down 3. The Russell 2000 up 9.5. There we go with those mixed markets again. As futures traders, we don't care if the indices are all red or all green. We just like them to all be the same color. It gives us better trade opportunities and greater follow-through. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 30 cents, trading 80.69 last. Gold up $5.60, trading 19.20.70 last. Silver up 6 cents, trading 22.78 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei fell 175 points. Shanghai dropped 31. And the Hang Seng down 375 points, which is just over 2%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 47, DAX down 102, CAC down 27. So that gave us a red day in Asia, red day in the UK, and as I said, it is a mixed Radio Friday here in the US of A. with that, take a quick look here at Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. Not just the E-minis, but also crude and gold and silver and euro and bonds and soybeans. A Logic alert can come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. whenever opportunity presents itself. Again, futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. So our day session is their night session and vice versa. Now, this recap is valid through 7 a.m. this morning. We've had some of the weighting resolve in a positive manner. So Valerie will complete the recap for the week this afternoon. But where we stood as of 7 a.m. this morning, total of 60 alerts issued, 6 never triggered. We're still waiting on the outcome of 5, and again, some of those have resolved themselves. That left us with 49 actionable alerts, of which 9 or 18% would have been stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, based on market structure and a simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their unlimited one-on-one mentoring sessions. Doesn't mean you risk $300 on every alert. If you're going to get out at the initial target, get your goal for the day, then your risk should be commensurate with that. If you plan to stay in to the final trade to target, then the maximum you should risk is $300 per contract traded. But as you learn how to use market structure, you'll find that you can often risk less than $300, but you never risk more than the potential profit in the trade. Now, an alert defines its own profit potential between the entry and the final trade to target. But again, if you know you're going to get out at the initial target, which is designed to help you get your goal for the day, then that is the maximum you should risk. Just never risk more than what you expect to take out of any trade. Over the last 263 weeks, we've issued over 14,900 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on the risk profile I just explained. Now, the logic alerts are based on current price action, but there's time built into each alert for you to get the alert, go study the 30-minute chart, see the window of opportunity that the alert represents, and be prepared to take action when price reaches the entry price. Now, the alerts aren't just so you can trade them and not have to worry about learning how to trade. They're a training tool. They're designed to help you learn to spot windows of opportunity yourself. Our goal for you is that you become self-sufficient. We want you to be able to look at a chart, see the opportunity, see the trade, and not rely on someone else to tell you when to get in or when to get out. It's really that simple. So if you use the alerts as they're intended, the Logic 247 alerts, it will help you learn the methodology and the strategy sooner than later. We still have our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. They're a little bit different. Number one, they're based on historic price action. And when current price action meets historic price action, that's where you'll find some of your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. Now, the CTA report, again, doesn't come out around the clock like the logic alerts. This is a static report published shortly after the Globex open each evening. So the Friday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I published this report at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. So what do you do when the report comes out? Number one, only be concerned with the markets that you actually trade. Use the ES as an example. First thing you do at 6:40 p.m. Eastern last night, when the report comes out, is go to the 30-minute chart of the ES and make note of where price is at this time. It'll always be between these two numbers. And draw a line in the sand at the long target, line in the sand at the short target. These will serve as great visual cues to keep you on the right side of the street. Now, if price gets above the 30-minute BVC, it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BVC, it's attempting to reach the short target. It's basically that simple. Look left to spot any potential obstacles on the way to the target. Previous swing highs or swing lows, which can become current resistance or support, and learn how price behaves and is drawn to the weekly trading zones. Price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern until they close Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Price is above the 30-minute BVC, it's trying to reach the zone above. If price is below the 30-minute BVC, it's trying to reach the zone below. You simply have to resist the urge to make it more complicated than that. We've published the zones since December 14th of 2009. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern for both members and trial members. So you have time to get them onto your charts before Wall Street even wakes up for the week. 6:15 a.m. Eastern Monday morning, and once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Now, this broadcast is open to the public, so if you're not a member or a trial member, you didn't get these numbers last night. If you want to grab a screenshot, you can. If you're watching after the fact, you can just hit pause and write down whatever markets are of interest to you. Let's go to the daily chart. As we discussed last night in the workshop, and as we've been discussing since back here, July 24th, from the 12th, this was a Friday, this was a Monday. Blue and climbing got above price, serving as resistance, turning into red and falling. And the pullback holds more often than not, whether you're on the daily chart or the 30-minute chart. But we know eventually price will trade through the BVC. And we started talking about the fact that this would likely be that time when, instead of the pullback holding, that it would actually trade through. And it did. It consolidated sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading sessions. We had a candle open and close below the BVC. Then we pulled back up to touch the BVC. And then I drew in this area here where we should expect support, and we got it. This candle's low to this candle's high. Doesn't look like a lot on a daily chart, but the low of this candle was 44.17, And the bounce took us up to 44.36. So pretty decent bounce. Now, the step line is back on the left side of red and falling. And the thing we talked about both yesterday and last night in the workshop is that once price hit the 24% fib retracement, we would most likely get a bounce. We spiked it, and now we've bounced. Where we close today will be very important in the grand scheme of things, and where we open Sunday night. Now that we have spiked this 24, we need to look left to see where we may find support. And that would be around the 43.17/18 area. Then the next area, down around 42.18, 42.19. Then the 38% fib retracement. This bounce could take us back to this low, could take us back to this high, red and falling, step line. It's possible it could even push us all the way back to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance until proven otherwise. The fact that we've got a doji sitting on a 24% daily fib retracement. Now the low of these fibs goes all the way back to October 13th of last year. And every institution is eyeballing this, trying to figure out, should they commit to further upside, or should they let nature take its course? When buyers hit the pause button, sellers come out of the woodwork. The fact that we're sitting right there with the doji means there's a battle going on. And when the institutions are battling each other, it's best to step aside. Let them resolve the issue, because it is the institutions that move price, not retail traders. Institutions have accounts in the hundreds of millions and billions and trillions of dollars. A typical retail trader has an account in the thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. When they trade, price moves. So our strategy and our indicators are not designed to beat the market or outsmart the institutions with all their resources. We simply want to be able to clearly see and understand what the institutions see and understand, so that we can do what they do just long enough to get our goal for the day and put the mouse away. So maybe you don't trade the S&P. Doesn't matter what market or stock or crypto or Forex you trade. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. So whatever market you do trade, if you'll spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you begin your trading session, you'll have a good idea of what the deep pockets are doing, what obstacles they're up against, where you should find support, and where you should find major resistance. Then on your smaller time frame, you just trade what's in front of you. Here's the ES. Last night, we opened right here below the lowest weekly trading zone. We popped above the weekly trading zone. This is the lowest zone for the week, and basically consolidated overnight to the London Open. And then when London opened on this candle, took us right down to the short target at 43.65. And you had the perfect stack on the way down. Price, step line, red and falling. Now price has rallied back up to the lowest weekly zone. It's now pulling back to the BBC. If this pullback holds and we get one more push, then potentially we will close the week above the lowest weekly trading zone. It's a a rare week when we close outside of the zones. I mean, it happens. Published the zone since December 14th of 2009. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. So if buyers are committed and history repeats itself, we'll close the session at or above the lowest weekly trading zone. And if we don't, that'll be one of the weeks we don't. Now, when the step line crossed this morning, red and falling, that told us price was going to pull back to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than not. You can see it all over the chart. But we know eventually, just like on the daily chart, eventually price will trade through the BBC. That keeps the markets fluid and tradable. So this next push up could get us above the lowest weekly zone. If so, that would be in keeping with what we've seen most weeks since December 14th of 2009. On the Dow, we have a similar picture. We opened at the lowest weekly zone. We pushed up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance until proven otherwise. Sent us back to the zone where we consolidated. Only three things happen at a zone. 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the times rejection, 10% of the time the slice. So we've now gotten already, we hit the short target, and now we're back above the lowest weekly trading zone for the week. Now these are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. As I said, once they're published, carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. On the Russell, here's where we open. Price pulls up to the BBC, takes us down to the short target. Then we get above the BBC, the pullback holds, and now price is trying to get back above the lowest weekly trading zone on the Russell. And in doing so, we'll hit the long target. On the NQ, we did not drop below the lowest weekly zone. Here's where we opened last night, pull back to the BBC, drop to the short target. Now we've gotten above the BBC, and right here we're holding a pullback. Potential resistance here, 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 here. If price gets back up into this area here, around 14,850, then you got a pretty good shot at the long target. Okay, but make price prove itself. Crude, we've rolled to the V contract. We opened last night with red and falling directly below price. When that happens, it tends to become support because it's on its way to turning to blue and climbing. We made a run at the long target. Didn't quite get all the way there, but plenty of room to get your goal for the day. Pull back to the BBC, hit the target to the tick. We get below the BBC, price drops to the lowest weekly trading zone this week for crude, $79/79.05. And again, when price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. So we've hit the short target, we've hit the long target. Looking left, current resistance we're up against was defined yesterday, Thursday. Look back to Wednesday. This is how you spot potential obstacles. Because if you just use your range chart and get tunnel vision, you won't see this. You won't see this. Okay? And if you don't have the zones on your chart, you won't see this. It's important, whether you're a member or on the trial, to take advantage of all the resources at your disposal. You'll never know what CFRN is really all about until you connect with the various Telegram channels. It's a messaging app. Somebody started a rumor that you got to put it on your phone first and then put it on your computer. That's entirely not true. You put it on your computer, a text message will be sent to your phone. You type in the code that was sent to you, and now you have Telegram on your computer. It's pretty simple. Now, can you also put it on your phone? Sure. Your laptop? You bet. Another computer? Absolutely. It's not something to be afraid of. It's a powerful, powerful tool. It enables you to be able to have discussions with other traders, especially if you're new, you're stumbling, you need help. We have a community of traders who are happy to help, but you've got to be in the discussion group to ask the question. So, those of you that aren't connected to Telegram, maybe you would take the weekend and get yourself connected so that you can benefit from every resource that's available to you. On gold, we opened just below the weekly zone, consolidated a bit, got above the BBC, ran to the target, pulled back to the BBC, ran into red and falling, consolidated some more, hit the long target again, and then we dropped to the lowest weekly trading zone. Yesterday, we were below the lowest weekly trading zone. Today, we've been above it, and right now we're sitting right at it, 1920/21. Again, these are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. Resistance. Price drops to a zone, support. 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 Over and over, again and again. Since December 14th of 2009, nothing's changed. Because it's based on the underlying principles upon which the markets operate. Those principles have been in place since the inception of the markets and will remain in play till the markets cease to exist. I simply stumbled onto a key that unlocked a lot of information for me. And so every one of our lifetime members have lifetime access to the weekly trading zones. And here we sit on the zone. Silver. Silver opened above the BBC. We had blue and climbing, consolidated for a couple of hours at the weekly zone. Then we ran to the target, and then we ran to the zone overhead. When the market finds resistance, it will go look for support, which it found at the zone. When the market finds support, it will go look for resistance, which it found at the zone. Then we dropped back to the zone, rallied back up to the zone, dropped back to the zone, rallied back up to the zone, and we're now have dropped back to the zone again. Zone to zone to zone to zone, zone to zone, zone. On the euro, pretty flat, just shy of hitting the long target, and we spiked the short target. And now we're just flat and trading sideways. On the daily chart, we still got that doji going on at the all-important 24% Fib retracement. I know when we were up here and even over here, somebody thought, oh, we'll never drop that far. Yeah, well, we may not be done. I said last night this could be good for a bounce. It has given us a bounce. We spiked it, we bounced. How we closed today and how we opened Sunday night will paint the picture of what to expect next week. To become a lifetime member with no recurring fees, no upsells, and no nonsense, go to eminifuturestrading.com. If you have any questions, call 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they have no one to teach them how to trade. They buy books, they watch videos. That's no replacement for a living, breathing teacher. We have nothing against books. We have nothing against videos. I just told you we have 2,300 on our YouTube channel. But again, each person is individual. Each person's understanding of the market and how price flows is as unique as you are. Which is why you need someone who can evaluate who you are and how you see the market so they can then teach you through your eyes how to become a trader. Imagine any career possible where you don't need somebody to teach you how to do the job. Very few. Even if you're going to mow lawns for a living. At some point in your life, somebody taught you how to gas up the lawnmower and put oil in the lawnmower and start the lawnmower. Or if it's an electric mower, they showed you how to plug it in and how to not run over the cord, right? Every career path has a learning curve. We've worked very hard for many years to make the learning curve as simple as we possibly can. The passport is your all-access pass to everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future. There are people in the audience today who have lost more than what lifetime membership costs. And they don't understand why. Get a teacher. If you don't get your education with us, get it somewhere. And don't fall for all that crazy, well-written ad copy that you see all over the internet and in your inbox every day. Everybody's got a secret. Holy Grail. The only Holy Grail in trading is learning how to trade. Once you learn how to trade, that's a pretty valuable life skill. And nobody can ever take it away from you. Once you understand how price flows across all markets and all time frames, you don't need anything else or anybody else. Chart will tell you everything you need to know. Passport holders have access to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. The strategy they learn, the indicators they own for life, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Passport holders receive the Logic 247 alerts, Concierge Trade Alert Report, and are able to attend the Members Only Workshop every Thursday night. It's everything a trader needs, all under one roof, at one low price. Grab your passport here, be ready to hit the ground running Sunday night. eminifuturestrading.com. Questions? Call 949-42-EMINI. Send an email to support@cfrn.net. Let's wrap this week up with our good word for the day. Be on your guard. 1 Corinthians 16:13. Be on your guard. Stand firm in the faith. Sometimes you experience more problems after you become a Christian than you did before. Hebrews 10:32. Think back on those early days when you first learned about Christ. Remember how you remained faithful, even though it meant terrible suffering. Consider the life of Christ. After his baptism, as Jesus came up out of the water, the heavens were opened, and a voice from heaven said, "This is my dearly loved Son, who brings me great joy." Matthew 3:16. Then we read, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted there by the enemy. Matthew 4:1. So, put things in context. First the call, then the conflict. And that's still how it works. When Paul was called into ministry, he was given a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted. 2 Corinthians 12:7. So when you say yes to God, prepare to be attacked. The enemy attacks what he fears, and he fears God's plan for your life. His fate is sealed. Yours isn't. When a player starts scoring, the other team targets him because they know he is capable of winning the game. Get the idea? Before Jesus launched his ministry, Satan offered him the kingdoms of the world, and he'll make the same offer to you. So the only safe place to be is in the center of God's will for your life. When Noah was building the ark, he could withstand 100 years of scorn. But when the job was done, he ended up drunk and disgraced. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 10, "These things happened to them as examples for us. They were written down to warn us who live at the end of the age. If you think you are standing strong, be careful not to fall." So the good word for today is be on your guard. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.